Right, we are recording. Brother, thanks a million for coming on.
It's good to be here.
So how's things at yourself? How's business?
Business is good. I was saying you just there before we went on, I dug myself in a deep enough wee hole whenever this all started, because I knew I'd end up sitting at home watching Netflix, binging the hell out and all that. So I was like, right, I'm going to stick the head down and get a bit of work done. It's been good.
You just mentioned exactly what I've been doing, the polar opposite of what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, for those who are watching who don't know, what can you give them a bit of a rundown of what exactly it is you do?
Yeah, so the easiest term, I'm a coach, but I do it in a varying different ways. So I do online coaching, I do in-person coaching, which is not available right now, which is lucky that I have the online side of things. Because of that, I'd be absolutely screwed if I didn't. So essentially, I'll talk about the online coaching because there's not much point in talking about PT. People generally know what personal training is. It's not important right now. But with the online coaching, essentially, I am looking after people's training and everything that goes into getting results, no matter what it is they want to achieve, whether it's like losing weight, putting on muscle, recovering from an injury, anything that can influence that, like sleep, nutrition, making sure that you have good sleep hygiene, anything that can go into improving any performance that relates to the goals. That's what I do. So that's why I like the term coach, because I'm not just a PT, because anybody can give exercises to anybody. It's the other stuff that goes into it that's the big thing. And that's basically it in a nutshell.
And how do you differentiate the physical side of things to the online side of things? Is there a big difference in the way you approach it, or would it be quite similar?
Very different in the sense with in person, I can't really have too much of an impact on what goes on outside of that 1 hour that I'm with someone. But when it comes to the online, I have a lot more input into everything. I'm not there for the training, and they do put up videos so I can correct technique. So that side of things isn't lacking. But what is a bit more, what is a bit more emphasis on is, being on top of your habits every day, making sure you drink enough water, you're eating your protein, all the things that go into like living a healthy and enjoyable lifestyle. I try and like put my little bit of input into, and I'd say it's probably a lot better in my opinion than PT for most people. Obviously, some people need someone there to fucking bollock them and shout at them and correct them on point. But I think what most people need is just that little guide. Somebody chat at the end of the week. How do you think I got on with this, and what can we do to improve? That's what I'm there for.
And do you think people respond better to having that accountability there at the end of the week
than PT?
No, so compared to PT, like, so you have that 1 hour, whereas there, if I know I have to check in with you on a Friday, like, I'm kind of held responsible to my own doing.
Massively different.
Yeah. So do you think people respond better to having you lurking over their shoulder there every Friday afternoon or whatever day it is you checking in on them?
Some people do. Obviously, some people don't like that. Somebody checking them with them all the time. I do think it's a lot. I do think it works a lot better for people. People could go out on the weekend and tell you that they didn't drink that much and they didn't eat those 2 takeaways on the Friday and Saturday, and then just go and do the PT. But if you're doing the online thing, I'm tracking food. I can kind of see what you're eating. So obviously, you can still lie. You can still hide all those things, but it's a lot harder to hide when it comes to the online. And like, yourself, you can tell somebody you didn't eat this and you didn't eat that in an hour. But if I'm on your case constantly, you're not going to get away with
it. So you're there to catch them rather than help them, really. But
I know I'm not there for that. Go on.
And so you went to DCU, correct? Was it DCU?
I did indeed, yeah.
Yeah. And what you studied? Did you study in relation to this field?
I did sports science and health, man. What's funny? I was going to do music production up until the year of the leaving. I wanted to be Swizz Beats. I wanted to be one of them boys making beats. I thought I had it in my head that I was convinced I was going to be a producer, and then I think I copped on one summer and I decided I was going to do sports science and health.
Actually, haven't looked back since.
I haven't looked back since. I still think that I could give it a good go. I was looking at getting a beat one of them systems. I can't even think of the name.
Oh, when the wee pad kind of when the wee yokes, the wee loop decks or whatever they're called.
Yeah, loop decks. That's the one.
Yeah.
I'm seriously thinking about it. I got a set of decks there a while back, but I don't have anywhere in the house, and I don't think that's for me. I think I'll go for production.
Yeah. So Coach Pig, then DJ Pig, Producer Pig at night.
Absolutely. That's it. That's
And
it.
have you noticed a massive increase in physical activity since we've all kind of gone into lockdown? Especially you're over in London, right? So a
I
little bit.
have.
Yeah, so it's a little
Sorry
bit
to
different
interrupt
back
you.
home. The lockdown restrictions are a wee bit different here. So have you noticed a bit of a difference, a bit of an uptake?
I have obviously loads of people started running. You can see all those 5Ks being ran, people donating the money. It's good, obviously. It's great. I'm not saying it, but that has taken a massive increase. People out running. I can't even go for a run in the local park because there's too many people going around. You're dodging left, right, and centre. So yeah, massive intake increase. Now I don't know about the resistance training, like the home workout side of things. I don't think that's been doing as well as people going to the gym. If you're to compare home workouts and gym, I don't think there's the same amount of people doing it. And I don't blame home workouts. Is hard, man.
Oh, it's impossible.
It's not fun.
No,
for some people.
I tried to give one a go at the back. I was set a resistance band there, and I was like, forget this. It's just not enjoyable. You're just not getting that same buzz after. You're just right back into the house or in your bedroom.
Yeah, no one's off from buzz after. If you go there and you do a heavy set, dumbbell bench or something like that, you get that the wee bit of pump after, and even you get that bit of endorphins. Doesn't happen as much with the home workouts, but you can adapt it to a degree. You just have to be patient and be willing to look like a fool doing some body weight movements.
Yeah, that's one thing. I just been in the gym for years, and body weight is just something I never done. And honestly, I'd be too scared to do it at home because I just wouldn't know what to be doing.
Hey, don't be scared. Don't be
No.
scared.
I actually started my new diet today on the cut. As of 9 o'clock this morning, I am on the cut. It is.
Oh,
I'm suffering already.
Tell me, what's the cut?
So what I weighed in this morning, 88.9 kilos. Going ideally 80. 80 was always a good mark for me. Last time I tried to do it, I got to 82, and I struggled to get the last 2 kilos off. Just couldn't get any lower. And as much as I tried lowering the calories, up in the cardio and stuff like that, and I couldn't nick it down. So this time we're going more scientific. I winged it a lot last time. We're more scientific. Have the calories done out to a T. I think we're on 2552 today, and have it all done out. Can't go wrong. Maybe.
Maybe. Why the particular weight that you want to reach?
Last time probably the best shape I've ever been, I was about 78 kilos, but I was a lot lighter. When I did that cut, I started, I didn't cut a lot to get to there. And then just as I grew and I kind of threw the diets out the window, and I put on a fair bit of muscle mass over the years. And I think if I could get around 80, I think it'd be a good medium there. I'd be a happy balance of where it was. Last time I got to 82, and I was very happy with my physique. It was nothing spectacular, but it was a nice walking around shape. And so I think if I get 80, I think it would just be that little bit nicer. But saying that though, I don't think I would have put on any more muscle since that last cut, because I've probably been telling you loads. I've been injured for almost the guts of 2 years, and so there was no muscle put on in those 2 years. And the weight stayed all right over the last 2 years. Tried to keep that under wraps as much as I could. So, and it's just something to do as well.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
And it's just something to do as well. I enjoy kind of, as weird as it sounds, I like that kind of wee bit suffering, like you're into the caloric deficit, and I kind of enjoy, you kind of go into a funny headspace at times. And
you're a bit of a masochist, are you?
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I just enjoy that wee bit of suffering. It's weird. Can't explain it. I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy it as well. Not so much with the calorie deficit. I love food, man. I fucking love food. I love the small bit of pain and torture you put yourself through with training. And I'm sure you're the same as well.
No, I'm actually kind of a bit the opposite. I more prefer to kind of that weird headspace. Yeah. Because I always enjoy training a lot. And I think that's why I kind of went in peaks and valleys of it over the years. I was it's classic. And I'd go ham for 6 months. And then nothing, the enjoyment kind of goes again, and like, right, I'll dip off for a week or two, and then a week or two turns into 2 or 3 months, and then go back and repeat the same process over and over again.
I feel you. Do you
Yeah.
think maybe what you're doing maybe isn't entertaining enough or isn't changing enough in order to keep you entertained on that training side of things?
I think so. Yeah, I completely agree with that. See, the thing with my back is like I'm very limited to what I could do, and I've always been like I can't do linear running, or I can't go rolly on 5Ks there. Like I did a 5K, and the only way I could do it was walk half a kilometer, bust myself for another half kilometer, and then hopefully my back would recover. Like it would loosen up in that 4 or 5 minutes that day I was walking the half kilometer. So that's the only way I could do kind of stuff. And like only the cardio I was limited to was pretty much like either sprints or incline on a treadmill. And when I mean incline, I was going up the mountains to get any sort of benefit out of it.
Serious, yeah. I think there's a lot more available to you than you think.
I'd say so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you could bang a serious session, taking your injury into consideration. I know we only chatted briefly about it before, but you want to explain it? I know we've been mentioning your injury, but we haven't said exactly what it is.
Yeah, so
for people listening.
I actually don't know what it is. So going way back when, it's probably 2012 when I joined, because just out of school, and I was at school about 2 years. So yeah, I did a PLC out of school, and then I went into the army. And all I ever wanted to be was in the army, and I was like a running machine. Could run to the cows come home. Like,
Forrest Gump.
That's what it was. I just got into that mindset there. All right, go into the army. All you have to do is run. Just keep running. And then about 3 weeks into the army, I went down to tie my boot, and I stood up. And whatever way I stood up, it was game over. My whole back seized up, top to bottom. I just couldn't move. I was froze. It was like frozen time. And then eventually got moving, and then it eased up, and then I was medically discharged. Medically discharged, and then a couple of weeks afterwards, I was like, right, I would kind of get in, try and see if we start moving again. And I could run. I'd say I get half a kilometer, or probably less at the time, and my whole lower back would seize up from probably the small of my back right into the back of my legs, just past the hamstrings, and just it eventually just freeze you in place. I couldn't you couldn't move any further, and then I could walk half a kilometer, and I was good again, and I take off like a greyhound again, and same thing. And it's still this 8 years later, same thing still happens. And then I went to upper back injuries. Over time, upper back just wore down, and the neck started getting stiff, and eventually it was locked in place, and went and got a full spinal adjustment and all that, and loosened all that up, and thankfully the neck has been fine since. But my two upper shoulders are always like constantly in spasm, more so the right shoulder. And I had 8 MRIs in the last calendar year, and nothing, bit of wear and tear on the discs of my neck, but nothing that wasn't anything staggering. And it just feels like the upper back is constantly bruised all the time. And then say I go for a push workout, it's like a shutter, like the arms just move in stages rather than smooth. And that's been like that for probably about October last year.
Yeah. I'm sure that's hard, man. I know you. I remember the early days when training. Where did you used to train? Did you used to train in Oak as well?
Yeah, Oak, yeah.
Yeah, Oak, yeah. There was a few of us in there, and used to be banging out the weights, man. I'd say it's a bit frustrating now when you go to train.
It's a complete nightmare. Like I feel very, very limited to what I can do, and I feel almost unsafe as well. When you go to train, you're almost like the injuries in the back of your mind, like, right, I can't do anything to aggravate this, and even then,
I reckon that you're not the only one in them situations, man. That's a lot more common than you think. MRIs coming up negative, really, and they still don't really know what to tell you. It's a frustrating situation to be in. Where I work in person is an osteopath clinic, and all their patients are essentially people like yourself who've been told people don't know what's up with them, And I don't want to take up too much of this podcast talking about this particular subject, but if you wanted to keep talking, we could keep talking. Or if you want to,
we'll ramble on as long as we can. Yeah, we'll ramble on.
That's fair enough. I reckon when it comes to them sort of things, I think you just need to realize that you need to change your training completely. Whatever you did before, it just has to be different now. Doesn't mean that you can never do those things again, but build them back up into it might just be a case where you need to start from ground zero. I need to just get loose and then work on building muscle and the other such things afterwards.
Yeah, I'm like in my head now at the minute, like weightlifting and stuff like that. Like I couldn't care less about that anymore. It's more about getting mobile again and moving the way I should move, and not feeling in pieces like every night. Like, you know, you sitting there, like I said at this chair maybe 60 hours a week, which isn't good. Like, I still get up and I move and as best I can, but I'm only 26 and like my whole back just feels like it's destroyed. And
I feel you.
it's not this hard. Like, it's like I'm still moving around and I'm happy out. Like, there's nothing from like a day-to-day standpoint that affects me, but it's just, you know, when you try to get moving, try to get a bit active and you want to get that sweat in, it's just like you can't.
Yeah, I feel you. And the fact you're saying you're 26, you're same age as myself, you know, you're probably thinking, you know, what am I going to be like in 20 years?
Exactly, yeah.
Look, I have a client, well, he's a past client now. He's actually left me. He came to me about a year ago with back pain. He's younger than us. He's only 23, 24, and he's from town. And he was crippled at college, sitting down all day, 6-7 hours a day was killing him. And thank God this time last year, he wasn't able to sit for 6 hours. Now I think he's doing exams this week. He's not a client of mine anymore. He's happy enough. He's moving freely. His back isn't giving him any issues. So I'm just trying to shed a bit of light and showing you that it's not necessarily all downhill. There's definitely some way to build it back up there.
Yeah, that's it. And I think like the most disheartening thing was like that, like every time, like say I did the first MRIs probably April last year maybe, and that was 3. I did 3 then, and then I was told like that was like I went to the physio and all that, and he was like, yeah, look, we'll recommend MRIs, and I had to go to the GP and all that. And then when he was fairly confident, he was like, I know what it is. I just need the MRIs to confirm what it is so we can begin treating it. And I was like, brilliant. I was like, this is fantastic. Like I'm on the road to recovery, and I can't stress how happy I was. I had to wait like 5 weeks for the MRI appointment, and I didn't see him between then. So I was like, right, this is grand. Started kind of going out for walks, kind of getting a bit moving, getting a bit more mobile, like thinking in my head, right, this is the step towards it. Like I'll be back in action in no time. All those results came clear, and that was upper thoracic, lower thoracic, and the base of my skull. And then he was like, I'm kind of at a loss. Like he's like, I don't know what to do. And then he kind of not let go of me as a patient, but he was just like, I don't know, like I just don't know what to do. So that was like I'm not going to pay you €50 a week for nothing now. Like, and then I went to another physio, and he was fairly confident. He was like, right, this is, I know what it is. Got the MRI results. He wanted to see the old MRI results, and he was like, oh, yeah, strange, come back clear. Same thing, exact same process. But 6 weeks down the line, he was like, I just don't know what to tell you. He's like, I don't know what to do with you.
And what did they get you to do? What did they give you stuff to do while you were waiting for all this?
Yeah, it was like a lot of like stretching and mobility work, and I did it. And I was like really strict with myself in doing it. And in my head, it didn't feel like it was a challenge doing what they were giving me. So I was like, maybe like it's not targeting the right things, but I went along with it anyway. And then same thing, I was like, well, I'm not going to come back to you. if there's nothing to do. So like, if you can't do anything, like I'm not paying you to give me a rub down every week. And then last one, went to one more. I didn't even make it to the first session. I was like, no, I'm out the door.
Why? What were they doing with you?
he turned around to me and he was like, sat there and he's like, look, Ryan, I think this is all in your head. And I was like,
that.
I looked at him dead in the eyes and I was like, you kidding me? I was like, I haven't been able to run for the last 8 years. And you can see that my right shoulder is like, I'll send you a picture of it. My right shoulder is like noticeably like up. And I was like, you can see that. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, why are you telling me it's in my head? I was losing the body. I've never been so angry as far as it was so frustrating. And yeah, again,
some of these characters they don't give a shit. That's the worst thing. You'd expect people to be in like healthcare and like physio or doctors that actually care, but a lot of them actually don't care. No, somebody that cares wouldn't say that to you.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. That's how I was like, I was out the door, and going back to the two previous boys I with, they really did genuinely care, and they were very like courteous towards me and very like inquisitive. Like they asked me everything and anything to get to the bottom of the problem. It just got to a point where we were like, this is no more. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
So
Clutching at straws.
I was meant to go to another fella just before all this lockdown stuff kicked off, and it was through my GP, and she was like, I've reviewed all your results, all your scans and stuff like that, and she was like, I've asked around, and this is the fella I think you should go to, and it literally booked an appointment. Then all this kicked off, so we'll pick up those.
Well.
Yeah, later on.
He'll have a busy schedule after this, but I'm sure he'll slot you in somewhere.
Guys, hope to God you will. But,
well, look, after this conversation, we'll have a little conversation, and I'll try and come up with something simple for you to try out.
Yeah.
See if I can help you sort of way, man. Fuck that being a pain shit and being passed around from physio to physio.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
And it's so disheartening because you just don't want to bother with it. Like you just don't want to bother with anyone then because you're just like, right, no one can fix me.
No one can fix me. Look at Tony Ferguson, man. Tony Ferguson handled his own rehab and came back, lost it. You know, so you can always come back from any situation.
Oh, definitely. I know I'll be eventually. Someday I'll be baiting down the road there again, flying. But someday soon, I'll figure it out. Like I'm willing to try anything. I'd try anything at this stage.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it
out. You have to.
Yeah, and an open book.
And come here, did you watch the fighting Saturday night? I hope.
Oh, I stayed up to 7 in the morning, watched them all, and oh my days, it was just a emotional roller coaster. Because we were texting just beforehand, and I was like, "No, Cruz is going to do it." I was questioning.
I can't believe they stopped that, man. I know he was getting whacked, but no response. But he was getting up.
I think he's about to stand up. Yeah, I think I would have been more annoyed about it if Cejudo didn't retire. I think if he had gone on as champion, I would have been like, fucking bastard. But it was a nice way for him to retire.
It was. I can't listen to him, man.
Oh,
I actually can't listen to him. He doesn't stop talking about his Olympic medal. He's like Kurt Angle in WWE. Always on about his fucking medals.
Yeah.
Jesus.
She wears it out when he's when he's doing his walkout. Wears it like if that was me, that'd be in a case somewhere. No one's allowed to touch it. Never mind wearing it out to the octagon.
Keeping it for a rainy day, you know, if you get stuck for money, throw it up on eBay.
Yeah. Someone sold an Olympic medal recently to raise money for charity. I can't remember who it was. I think it was a French
Michael Phelps. He have enough of them, does he?
Oh, he's about 40. How many does he have? He's about 20 odd, doesn't he?
He won 2 or 3 at a time every Olympics, I think. Because he'd be on the team, and then he'd do 2 or 3 swim events himself.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. And like in his personality is weird enough as well, but I suppose you had to be that 1% of the 1%. You have to be a special character.
Have you been watching the the Bulls documentary?
I watched the first the newest 2 episodes this morning.
Oh, I haven't seen them. I must give them a go.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's a really good documentary, and it's queer to see.
It's interesting.
I love seeing like the mix of personalities within team dynamics and stuff like that, and seeing like how. Because they're all at one stage were the man on their team. They were the best person on a team at one stage. And then they come in with a mix with all these mad personalities and all these clashing egos. It's like, I think it's very interesting to see like how these boys function.
Yeah. And you know what? People always underestimate them sort of the dressing room personalities when it comes to who's going to win a sporting event. It's always like, paper, who's going to win? You don't know what the hell's going on with these boys in the changing room, like, and it's good to see that background in the documentary. To see like Pippen getting on with Jordan, and then I can't even remember his name, Rodman going away in a mad one to Vegas. Like you wouldn't know about these things unless you've seen documentaries like this.
And boys having to go and get him, like, and bring him back.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great, and it's the way it's assembled is really good as well. It's like reminiscent of like 30 for 30s, which is like probably the best docu-series I've ever watched. And it's really good. It's interesting. It goes into the baseball in these new episodes, like when we tipped off to play baseball for a while. and you could
Yeah, there
see.
was a 30 for 30 about him playing baseball, I think.
Yeah, there was.
Back
Yeah,
in the day. I think I watched that. Yeah, they were serious. Them 30 for 30. Some crazy ones up there. But I think it's good seeing those characters. Like the 1%, like you're speaking about, and seeing what sort of mindset it takes to get to that. And generally, you look at them and you're like, yeah, right, they're great and all, but did I have a social life? Did I have anything outside of that?
yeah.
A lot of them don't. I was talking about this in my story last week, and I got them guffed. Or like, you're basically telling me that you wouldn't want to be Michael Jordan. I'm like, of course I'd love to be Michael Jordan. I'm a white man. I'd never be able to dunk. Of course I'd want to be Michael Jordan. But there is sacrifices to be in the 1% at anything.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I don't think I wouldn't like. You'd love all the glitz and glamour and all the other stuff that comes with being a professional athlete, but I don't think I would want to be as famous as he can. Like, he couldn't dip around the spa there to get a jug of milk. Like, that's
No
no
getting
end. Like,
chicken fillet rolls on a Friday morning or any of that crack.
no, like, he's there morning, noon, and night, all about sport, all about being better.
Yeah, it's a hard life. Major respect in him, but not for me.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't fancy it now at all. Maybe if it was a more relaxed sport or something like tennis or something, I take it. Like, because you're famous, but you're not that famous. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Like not everybody's gonna recognize you.
yeah, I take that, no sweat. But no, I wouldn't be fancy being Michael Jordan or Conor McGregor there just baiting down Grafton Street. Like, no way to be living.
Have you noticed McGregor's turned into a humanitarian lately? He's Saturday night he put out that tweet. He's like, I want to wish the best of luck to all these. And I'm like, what is going on with him?
Yeah.
He's turning a little bit odd in isolation, possibly.
He's come mad, and then the next night he was slating Diaz on Twitter. Like,
something about that. What was he saying?
Diaz told him, what did he say? Shut your bitch ass up, and then McGregor was like, shut your eye, or try and shut your eye, and sign the contract. But he's a
What, you're going for a third one?
I don't want to. I hope it doesn't happen. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't think it does anything for the UFC. No. I'd much rather stick him in there with Dustin Poirier again. That's the one I'd make. No?
Yeah. I'd like to see McGregor and Gaethje. That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a tough one for Gaethje for the first 2 rounds, and afterwards I think it's deep waters for McGregor.
Especially the way he was fighting Saturday night. He looked a lot more calculated than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I think that version beats any lightweight in the world. I think that version beats Khabib. I don't think anyone can handle that pace, any of that punishment. And we've yet to see, like, we haven't seen his wrestling in the UFC, but if you go back and look at his WSOF record of fights, you see his wrestling, and I think it'll cause Khabib problems in the fact that, like, Gaethje will be comfortable in all those situations, whereas most people are like absolutely bewildered and haven't got a Scooby-Doo what to do.
Yeah, he's calm in the chaos. One of the commentators said it Saturday night, you never seen somebody who just stays so calm when there's craziness going on. But Tony Ferguson's as crazy you're going to get. Like, you're not going to see anybody doing all the fucking wavy shit that he's going to be doing.
He's an oddball. But I've seen a thing Justin Gaethje said before. He said, I'm willing to take more punishment than you're willing to give me.
He said he was willing to die, man. He told his coaches he was willing to die.
That's a dangerous individual mindset like that. Like, going to have to leave nothing on the table. Like,
yeah, I don't think McGregor has that. Willing to die in him.
No.
Compared to Justin Gaethje.
No, the boys aren't getting paid as much as he are, so they don't have that the luxury of having 100 million there in the bank that they could fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I want to talk to you about, actually, specifically, because it kind of falls into my kind of line of work as well. Not only to be a coach because you have an online presence, but you have to have a content creation side of things. And how do you find having to adjust that from a physical world to the online world?
And at start, I hate going back and looking at my old content because it's terrible. But it's like anything. I was sitting there and I was writing some notes the other day about content. I like to try and plan it ahead of time, but I said I go back and review my old content, and the old content was essentially like me trying to copy what I had already seen in other people do because I was that clueless. And I think when it comes to most things, like if you're learning to draw or you're learning to take photos, you're probably going to look and try and emulate other people that you like.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're the same with photos, photography. So it's been a strange adaptation, but I think the one thing I've noticed, the biggest difference is when you start being genuine in your content. So you're not just writing up quotes and copying other things that people are saying. When you're actually saying something that you mean and you're saying it in your own words, it tends to have a better response. That adapting to talking to people and then putting it into content is mad different because it's not just about what I'm writing down and what I'm saying. I have to think about what people are going to think or feel whenever they see that picture or read whatever post I've written. And sometimes it's very hard to try and get that sort of into your head. I'm sure when you're taking photos, I'm sure you want to capture some sort of emotions or try and, I don't know what's the word, elicit a certain response from people when they see that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But it all depends on what I'm trying to, on what the subject is that I'm photographing. Like some stuff would be like premeditated and I think really hard and long about it. Like you could plan weeks on a photo, and then some days like just go out and you just bring the camera and then you see what happens. Like, and sometimes both work out better. Both work out better than the others at times. And but I more so kind of like just going just specifically with photography. I just kind of like just going for it rather than trying to plan it out too much. I think it takes away the fun and the creativity side of things for me. But with video, all has to be planned out. But photos, I usually just kind of go by feel, and cause that's why I get the most fun and get the most enjoyment out of. So I usually just kind of leave that up to the gods and wing it on the day and see what happens. But anything else,
it's all in there. It's all in there.
Yeah, exactly. But everything else, like I'll be very meticulous with, and I'll plan out well in advance. And like for videos or anything that I do, as much research as I could, plan out shots and audio and lighting and everything like that. Like there'd be so much goes into it. And but photos, I love to just wing it.
Yeah, I would be like that sometimes when it comes to stories. If you ever listen to my story, I fucking wing it, man, most of the time. But I like that because sometimes I end up saying something that I didn't even know that I thought. You know, you kind of stumble upon the thought. I might go into something, let's say, what was I chatting about the other day, talking about like morning routines and how to affect your day. I'd have that in my head, and then whatever comes out, and it's the same thing. Whatever God decide is going to come out, it might be good, it might be bad, but it's still coming out, and it's not always about the quality of what I'm saying or what ends up coming out. It's the fact that I'm going through the process of doing it, and by going through the process of doing it, you're going to get better at it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Blind Boy's podcast is one thing that has definitely improved with my content creation because he's big creativity, and he's always talking about just getting some not freedom, but being free with your creation. So don't overanalyze it, just go out and do it. And by doing it, you're going to get better at it. So I try and emulate that with making content as much as I can, but it's a strange one. For videos is odd. I'm a bit reluctant going into videos, first of all, because I'm not great at editing. And that's one thing that I think is limiting me with content. That's why I prefer the old post style things. But you know, I suppose maybe that's another thing I just need to trial and error and get better at.
I think like that's actually one of my gripes with like the fitness industry is these overly edited videos. I can't stand them. I hate them. Like all these bells and whistles and all these mad transitions and stuff like that. Whereas can't stand them. Like it absolutely like they really annoy me. And like they're all cookie cutter kind of jobs. Seen one, seen them all. And I think that's actually going to lead into my next question. Is that one thing is like, I was like, do you think people in the fitness industry choose people to work with based upon results or based upon the bells and whistles that they have to offer?
Oh, it's all about most people. I'm going to say most people end up buying products of fitness influencers that are bells and whistles. It's not about the results or the quality of what you're getting. It's all about the look. It's all about how good their content looks and how good they look, because they think that if the person they are getting coached by looks good, that means they're going to look good. You know, I think it boils down to that for a lot of people. Then you get people that actually realize that, you know, that's not the case, you know, and you need somebody who knows what they're doing and cares, and then that's going to get you results.
Yeah, because I've become quite disillusioned with the fitness industry just over the years of being like in the gym and stuff like that, and it became so much more about appearances and attitudes than actually just being in the gym, getting your 40 minutes or an hour in and then dipping out. Like, boys spend more time looking in the mirror than they did actually working out. And you see that trend like kind of fall across the board online, like through YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. It was more, it's all aesthetically based, and like not that like you will look class. It's like, I look class, buy my products, and maybe you could look like this. Like,
yeah, well, actually, I don't really care at all. I'm just here
exactly,
to take your money.
That's exactly what it is. Like, there's like, like the only person like influencer that I would like anyway follow at the minute is Joe Delaney. I'd still watch his stuff all the time because I think he's genuine and that like, and he just like, and he's like, he's not in it for the gold and diamonds at the end of it. Like, he's in it for, I think, just to help people and help himself as well. That like, he gets something out of it, not just monetary gain.
Yeah, exactly. I think now that I'm just thinking while we were talking about that, about how like artificial and all of it looks, the fitness industry was. I think early, whenever I started making content, I purposely didn't try and make it look good, but I wanted to be the complete antithesis of that. I wanted to be opposite of that. I wanted to be about good quality information and helping people. And I'll actually prefer it to look bad than to look overly glamorous, you know.
Oh yeah.
But I realize that you're not going to get the intake of people, and you're not going to get enough people looking at it if it doesn't look good. So I have to meet it in the middle.
Yeah, there's a balance somewhere. Yeah, I think if it looks good and sounds good, and there's no like over the top like madness in it, I think that's like the mission achieved. Like, as well as like,
you know what does my head in when you see people doing like a little wee dance before they show you a home workout. It's like, I'll do this wee dance to show you that I'm genuine, and then, you know, hop on and show you 2 exercises. There's a home workout
in an American accent, and from
don't start me about the accents,
Dublin.
Man. Don't start me about the accents. I have to say, I've been enjoying your stories when you're taking the piss out of all the influencers.
I had to stop because I started to annoy myself.
Very good.
I just had enough. I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. It's just like wrecking my own head. I can't stand them. I have a big
request. I've got a request. Somebody, I'm not saying who, wanted to ask you about the stuff that you put underneath your eyes, because they always have bags under their eyes.
Oh yeah, them. I always use them. They're fucking daily. I actually do always use them. Like little moisturizing patches. And see, I just from the screen, I'd be sitting here with my glasses on 60 hours a week, and Julia, my girlfriend, she was like, your eyes are on bits, and she was like, you should try and get these, and you get them in pennies, I think. And I'll put a promo code in the description because I'm new. And man, they're class like $2.50 a packet or something. You just stick them on and leave them on 15 minutes, and you feel good as gold.
Class. And you're big on the skincare and the beard care, man. I have to say, since that day that you put up the video of the beard care, I was like, right, I'm going to stop just leaving it sitting there. I'm actually going to use my beard oil and look after it. You only have one beard and I have no hair on top.
Every morning beard oil goes in, beard balm goes in, and then use me little eye roll up, and I'm happy out.
Hey, you have to look after yourself.
You do, man. That's insane. I look forward to in the morning, have my morning shower and throw my stuff on, and I'm good for the day. Like,
would you have a wee morning routine that you go through, like same thing every morning?
Kind of. It's nothing exciting. Like, it's literally the same thing every morning. Like, I get up. I'll usually get up, tidy around, check emails. I'll go down, have a coffee, do a walk for probably about 2 hours, then have breakfast, shower, then back to work, and then out for a walk at some stage in between, and then back to more work.
You're flat to the mat then.
Yeah, busy, very busy at the minute, but hopefully things will calm down now for the summer and they can get a bit more downtime in.
And when it comes to yourself, I know obviously you're doing photography and you do videos and all that. You put up a bit of content yourself. What way do you approach that now? Could
you say that again?
Adapting. you put up a good bit of content yourself. You know, obviously you put up photos and all. Like, what would be your thoughts around, you know, adapting, let's say, photos just to put up onto the social media platform? Would you have photos that you'd say are more specific for posting to social media or for different areas?
Usually what I do is if I do say a photo shoot with, I know, just say a fashion photo shoot or something like that, I'll usually pick 2 or 3 images that I really, really liked, and I'll put them on social media, and I'll put those ones on my website as well. I'll never put a full setup. It's just because it's kind of information overload, and no one wants to see 20 images of the same kind of thing. So I usually pick 2 or 3, and they'll go on Instagram and they'll go on my website. I don't actually usually post photos to Facebook. I should start using Facebook more, but I don't use it too much. Just 'cause I find it's an older demographic, and it's not really my target audience. And
yeah, I'd be the same.
Yeah, and but I should start using it more, just for the sake of it. But like all these videos will go up on Facebook because they're too big for Instagram, and that's the only reason. And
yeah,
like even then, before I rebranded to Blah Blah Studio, I didn't have a Facebook page. I just didn't bother with it. But it's good though.
I used to avoid Facebook as well for the same reason, you know, the age demographic. But I think hitting people from a few angles is a big thing. You know, if you see somebody on Instagram, you see somebody on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn and you see somebody on LinkedIn, if you're getting that constant exposure, it can be a good thing. You know, obviously you're not going to be up on stories talking shite as much as I am, but it's good to get your face seen out there, your product seen out there.
Oh, definitely. No, I completely agree. Like the more rings, what's that saying? I'm going to get it wrong. But the more angles you have, the better it is. Like you're just increasing your chances of getting more clients. But what you said there about like having your face seen is it's something that I promised to do myself this year when I rebranded everything over. That I was like, my face needs to be seen more. I need to be heard more. And whether you like listening to me or not, I'm trying to be heard and seen more as much as I can. Just kind of because it's just brand recognition. And I actually, before we started, I put up a thing asking for would someone interview me about my brand, because I've been trying to write a script for a video since February, I'd say, and I literally have 2 lines, and I keep the notebook, like literally I have a notebook right beside me all day, every day, and I just keep that page open, and I can't write it because I'm not really too good at reflective stuff. So I was thinking, if someone can interview me about my brand and ask me questions, and I'll just answer it off the cuff, that I can go back and take lumps out of it for the script that I need, because it's like I want to do a brand statement about like what it is I'm completely what I'm like. I know I did something similar, like just when I explained like how the whole brand came about, but I want to do something like that's more concrete, more cinematic, and have that as my mission statement.
It's hard talking about yourself though sometimes, isn't it?
Very hard. I'm not very reflective at all. Kind of like I'm more kind of, that's in the past, I've got on with it and I'm kind of moving forward. Whereas like that's why I'm struggling to go back and think of things to write in the script that's like relative to now and the future. Whereas like the last video was completely reflective. So, and that was just me rambling on. Oh, big time. Absolutely.
Practice. Yeah. That's one thing now I've been doing, I'd say, for over a year and a half now, is I've been keeping a wee journal now. I haven't been doing it consistently. My wee journal, I write in like fucking shite sometimes, but you know, I reflect each day on what was the good things that happened, what could I have done better, and even that, doing that consistently, it makes it easier then to do it the next time.
Yeah.
And I used to hate reflecting. I used to hate talking about myself. Then whenever I started PT, and I literally needed to talk to people to try and get them to come on board with me. So I had to be able to realize what's good about myself and all that jazz. But it takes a lot of time, and things like journaling and actually meditating doesn't really work for me, but for some people it does. Things like that can be quite good on getting better at speaking about yourself and reflecting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, meditating, can't do it either. I just can't. I can't settle to do it. The brain's just always firing away off something. And I've talked to people about it. I actually talked to this woman in New York, and she runs like a meditation. She has like a whole well-being like center, and she's trying to get me to meditate, and it just wasn't happening. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't sit in silence. I was like, it was like so uncomfortable. It was killing me inside. And,
yeah.
So I abandoned meditation from that day. that day onwards. Tough in the shelf.
Have you ever tried yoga before?
No, I'm that's one thing that is on the list of getting into when this all comes back up. And that was one thing I was going to ask you. It's like, what's the difference between Pilates and yoga?
I tell you what, I've never done Pilates, man.
Yeah.
I now I'm probably going to get this wrong. Somebody who does Pilates is going to tell me off, but I'm pretty sure yoga is a lot more static poses. You know, you're staying in a position. Obviously, you move a little bit. Yeah. Pilates is more about those finer muscles. You know, like there's a lot of bands being used, and it's not as much holding poses and stretches as such. I don't even know how to describe. That's how bad I can't really define what is different between it. I haven't done it, but if for flexibility and mobility, I would say yoga is the one to go to. And then if you want to get stronger and some of the smaller muscle grips, then probably Pilates.
Class, yeah. I'm mad to get into yoga. Yoga and jiu-jitsu is something that I want to get into this year.
Oh, you want to join the BJJ?
Absolutely. I've been mad to do it. I've had it in my head this long time. And just true, but because injury has been always, especially because it's around the neck, you might get choked out there. I was afraid that my shoulders and neck would get tugged in the wrong way, and that was me back in the bench. So hopefully we can get a bit more movement, and yoga and jiu-jitsu is on the plan for this year.
Hey, if I can do it and help you get to there, man, I'd love to do that and get a wee roll in. Yeah. The only reason I build you up to a roll and then I'll go and try and break your neck.
Class, yeah. No, you're grand, and all of a sudden getting choked out. You train jiu-jitsu, do you?
Nah, man, I love BJJ. Yeah, I done it for about a year and a half, and then I didn't do it for the first year and a half that I'm in the job, with the job that I'm in currently. And I got back into it, I'd say 3 weeks before lockdown, and I was loving it. I was like, I'm back. I'm going to compete in summer. I fucking love this. And then, that happened. But I'm not really too annoyed about it because, look, worse things can happen.
Definitely.
Being able to do BJJ. But I'm ready to go back, man. I'm here doing loads of drills out the back, getting myself ready to get back into it.
Love that. Yeah, no, definitely. Get me on board, and hopefully you can choke me out sometime in the near future. I want to ask you one question. I've been saving this for the end, so I'll wrap it up with this. And it's something that I think about quite frequently, is that why do you think there's such a connection between like having like a positive mindset and fitness? It's something that like annoys me, because like people be like putting up quotes and they're like, look at these self-help books and get my meal plans and shit like that. Like, I was like, it doesn't have to be a positive experience. Like talking about my diet, like it's not going to be a positive experience I'm aiming for 12 weeks. I'm probably not going to enjoy any part of the 12 weeks, and I'll probably be grumpy and I'll be pissed off. And there's no positivity that's going to lift me out of that, because I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to be annoyed. Like, so what do you think about that?
I think, when it comes to positivity and these quotes and all like that, I think people that don't know enough about what actually takes to train and to motivate, to think that quotes and being super positive is the answer to motivation, when motivation is a bit of a myth, to be honest, because motivation isn't what gets you up when you're at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. It's routine, routine and building habits and just taking action. Motivation is an overrated one, and people think that quotes and being positive is the answer to motivating people, when essentially what you do is you fucking turn people off you most of the time if you're going spouting all positivity all the time, because it's not positive all the time. You're doing 100 burpees in a row, it's not fucking positive. If you're like 200 kilos in your back squatting, what the fuck's positive about that? You're almost breaking your back in half. Like,
that's like, I've always had that gripe, but like, why is this like this direct correlation of positivity and fitness? Like, and it never made sense to me, because any great athlete or any great sportsman has always suffered and has made like unbelievable sacrifices to get to the place, like we said earlier, to get to the place that they are. And there's not too many positives I can find out of it, other than the fact that you're in peak condition. I don't think I think it's like, it's good to have the positivity, but I don't think it needs to come from fitness, or positivity needs to be fitness related. if that makes sense.
Yeah, they shouldn't be so connected.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, actually, big bad David Goggins. I I listened to his audiobook a couple of years ago, and then I started listening to it again there over the weekend. And one of the first things he says in it, he's like, "This book isn't a motivation book." He goes, "Motivation's not real." And he was like, it's character is what you need. And he says, if you live in Chicago, the west side of Chicago, and it's the middle of winter, and you go for a 2 mile run, and you decide not to because it's cold, he's like, there's no motivation that will get you to do that. He goes, it's character that gets you to do that. Like if you had character, you go back and you put on your snow gear and you get out and you do your run. He's like, there's no motivation there. It's character and personality and grit and determination will get you through that. Not live, laugh, love.
Not positive quotes.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in saying that, I do enjoy a good quote, but I don't enjoy the cheesiness of shit like that. But I agree with him fully.
Yeah.
Motivation is bullshit. It is character, and the thing is, character can't just be can't happen overnight. You need to build that from your childhood all the way up through. If I think this is why I think sports are so important, and playing sports when you're younger, because things like that build character. Challenges being character, and obstacles. You know, David Goggins is a man who faced serious obstacles. He broke his leg in the middle of a run and just kept fucking going.
Yeah.
He was massively overweight, and he decided to lose weight. He overcame that massive obstacle. He was a Navy SEAL as well.
Yeah, SEAL. Yeah, and he won a few SEALs that went to Army Ranger School as well.
Yeah, that's massive obstacles to overcome. I think if anything, fitness should be more aligned with overcoming obstacles and fucking motivation.
Yeah, the positivity. Yeah, forging character rather
positivity.
Than, yeah, because they just can't do it. I like realistic quotes that people have said and people have lived and stuff like that. My favorite one is "All men are born equal. Some just work harder in preseason." I love that. I can't remember some NFL player, like he just won his first NFL champion. I think it was his only one. And they asked him like after that about something. He said, that's what he said. He's like, we're all born equal. Some just work harder than others. And kind of stuck, like, not that it stuck with me, but it's like, it's something that I try and do. Like when my own personal work is like, if I just work as hard as I can, that's the best possible result I can get for that project. And there's nothing, you can't have any regrets then after that.
No. And I think when it comes to quotes, like having something that actually does resonate with you to a degree, rather than just having these willy-nilly positive quotes. Like one for me, I think it's Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right.
Yeah.
And that's just touching on the edge of airy-fairy, but it's true. You know, like if you don't think you're able to do something, you're definitely not going to do it. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a good chance you still might be able to do it, even if you think you can, but better chance.
Better chance in trying than not trying. Like,
yeah,
better try and fail than not try at all. But sure, we'll leave it there on a positive note.
Excellent.
Brother, thanks a million for popping on. I really appreciate it, and I actually really enjoyed that. That was really enjoyable.
That was good crack. I just looked at the phone here. That hour went very fast.
Fuck, we did know, did we? Fucking hell.
It did. Yeah. Great wee chat, man.
Yeah, brother, appreciate it. Thank you so much.